When I first bought the house, it felt like a dream come true. 2 stories, a big backyard, and a kitchen that finally made my wife, Emily, smile after years of apartment living. I worked overtime shifts for almost 5 years to make the down payment. This place was my pride, my proof that I was building something real for us. Emily loved hosting, so when she asked me if she could invite her parents and siblings over for a weekend gathering, I said yes without hesitation. I thought it was just going to be a barbecue, some drinks, and laughter. I had no idea that what started as a casual visit would turn into a full-blown takeover of my home and my life. The first night was fine. We grilled burgers, shared stories, and watched the kids run around. But on Saturday morning, Emily casually mentioned over breakfast, "Hey, my mom and dad might stay an extra night. Is that okay?" "Sure," I said, sipping my coffee. One extra night isn't a big deal. But then her brother, Kyle, chimed in. "Actually, I might crash here all week. Saves me a commute to work." I nearly choked. "All week? Kyle, I don't think." Emily cut me off with a tight smile. "It's fine, Mark. He's family." By Sunday, what was supposed to be a weekend gathering turned into an invasion. Her parents were rearranging furniture to make it cozier. Kyle had claimed my recliner as his throne. Her sister, Megan, left her laundry all over the guest room. Every time I opened my mouth, Emily would say, "Don't be so uptight. It's just for a while." Then came Monday night, the night that broke me. I came home from work to find everyone gathered in the living room, like some kind of tribunal. Emily stood in the center and said, "We've been talking, and we all think it's best if you stay with your buddy Greg for a while. The house feels tense when you're here." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. But when no one laughed back, the air in my chest turned to fire. "You're voting me out of my own house?" I asked. Megan shrugged. "It's just until things calm down." Things didn't calm down. They got much, much worse. That night, I didn't argue. I grabbed a duffel bag, packed a few clothes, and drove to my friend Greg's place. On the way, my phone buzzed. A group chat Emily had created called Family House Rules. They were already making decisions about my house. Kyle suggested turning my garage into a game room. Megan wanted to paint the guest room yellow. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Greg opened the door, saw my face, and didn't ask questions. He just handed me a beer. "You look like a man who just got robbed." "I did," I said flatly. "My wife and her family kicked me out of my own home." Greg let out a low whistle. "Man, that's cold. What are you going to do?" I didn't know then. All I knew was I couldn't let this slide. For 2 weeks, I stayed at Greg's, watching as Emily's texts went from smug, "You should try smiling more, maybe they wouldn't feel so tense," to annoyed, "You still need to send money for bills this month." Send money? To live in my own house without me? That was the moment the fire in my chest turned into ice. I stopped replying to her texts altogether and went to a lawyer. The lawyer's eyebrows shot up when I explained what was happening. "You're the sole owner of the property?" he asked. "Yes. Bought it before we were married." His lips curled into a slow grin. "Then legally, you have every right to remove them, every single one of them, including your wife." That night, I sat in Greg's driveway and thought about what removing them really meant. Kicking them out would be satisfying, sure. But I wanted more. I wanted them to feel the humiliation they had made me feel, the helplessness of being told you don't belong in the place you sacrificed everything for. So I came up with a plan. A plan that would make them regret ever turning my home into their personal kingdom. I wasn't just going to take my house back. I was going to make sure they never forgot whose name was on the deed. 2 days later, I went back to the house unannounced. I didn't knock. It was my house after all. When I stepped inside, Kyle was on the couch playing video games, Megan was on the phone in my kitchen, and Emily was folding laundry like she owned the place. "Mark," Emily said, startled. "You could have called first." I smiled. "No need. I'm just here to grab a few things." What I didn't tell her was that those few things included every important document, spare keys, and valuables I cared about. Then, when everyone went to bed that night, I quietly changed the Wi-Fi password, locked my office door, and took the garage opener with me. The next morning, I showed up with 2 sheriff's deputies and the eviction paperwork my lawyer had prepared. Emily came running to the door, face pale. "What is this?" she demanded. "This," I said, holding up the papers, "is me taking my house back. You and your family have exactly 1 hour to pack up and leave." Kyle tried to argue, Megan screamed about how unfair this was, and Emily's mom even had the audacity to cry. But the deputies stood there, arms crossed, making it clear there was no room for debate. By the end of the hour, the house was silent. Empty. Mine again. But I wasn't done. "Remember that group chat? I sent them one final message. Since you all enjoy voting, here's one for you. I vote you stay out of my house permanently. Unanimous decision. Goodbye." Then I blocked every single one of them. Over the next week, I sold the furniture they had rearranged, repainted the guest room back to its original color, and installed new locks on every door and window. When Emily tried to call me from a friend's phone, I let it ring out. She eventually sent a long, tearful email about how she just wanted everyone to feel welcome. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat in my recliner, in the quiet of my living room and smiled. For the first time in weeks, the house felt like home again. And this time, I promised myself, no one would ever make me feel like a stranger in my own life.